Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Expose, where we delve deep into the political figures shaping and sometimes misshaping the world around us. Tonight, we turn our attention to Albania's Prime Minister Edi Rama, a man who, for the past 11 years, has carefully cultivated his image as a modern leader, bringing his country into the European fold. But behind the polished facade, beneath the slick international diplomacy, a much darker reality lurks. Tonight, we unravel the layers of corruption, organized crime, environmental degradation, and autocratic rule that have come to define Rama's Albania. At first glance, Edi Rama appears to be the kind of a leader Western powers dream of, a reformer, a modernizer, and a stabilizing force in the volatile Balkans. His charisma and larger-than-life persona have won him favor in capitals from Brussels to Washington, with figures like German Vice-Chancellor Robert Habeck and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, lavishing praise on the Albanian leader. But the cracks in his carefully maintained facade are showing. Under his leadership, Albania has become a haven for organized crime, with deep ties to the drug trade and money laundering operations. According to his former Deputy Prime Minister Arben Ahmetaj, who is now a fugitive, the Albanian mafia is operating with impunity, infiltrating the highest levels of government. Ahmetaj alleges that criminal groups are awarded government contracts and billions of euros are laundered through the construction industry, often with Rama's personal blessing. Yes, the allegations from Ahmetaj are deeply concerning, particularly as they come from someone who was once at the heart of Rama's administration. What we are seeing in Albania is a dangerous symbiosis between organized crime and political power. The lines between the two have become so blurred that it's hard to distinguish where the government ends and the mafia begins. This has profound implications for Albania's government, doesn't it? Rama's government has often touted its success in judicial reforms, but how much of that is smoke and mirrors?
Corrupt officials are being held accountable. Members of organized crime are going to prison and losing their assets. So this is a very powerful process, but it's a process, and it continues to move forward. We'll continue to strongly support Albania in these efforts, which are critical steps toward Albania joining the European Union and what the people deserve.
The reality is much different. Those arrested are often scapegoats, while Rama and his inner circle remain untouched. Albania's judiciary is being used as a weapon targeting political opponents and protecting the elite. It's a classic playbook of an autocratic rule. It's not just political corruption that stains Rama's tenure. His so-called economic modernization efforts have come at an enormous cost to Albania's environment. From the destruction of ancient forests to the paving over of protected landscapes of luxury resorts, the damage is catastrophic. One of the most egregious examples is the planned development in the Vjos Narte protected area, a pristine coastal ecosystem that is home to endangered species. And who's behind this? Other than Jared Kushner, with funding from Saudi sources tied to human rights abuse. What we're seeing here is environmental destruction disguised as economic progress. Rama's government has systematically dismantled protections that were supposed to safeguard Albania's natural heritage. The Vjos Narte development is particularly troubling because it represents the commodification of one of the last untouched ecosystems in the Mediterranean. The consequences for biodiversity tourism and Albania's international reputation are severe, and yet Rama has sold this project as a boon for the economy, when in reality it benefits only a select few foreign investors and political elites. It sounds like this project is emblematic of a broader pattern in Rama's governance. Are we witnessing the sale of Albania's future to the highest bidder? Absolutely. The irony here is that Rama presents himself as a champion of environmental protection. He even inaugurated a national park along the Vjosa River. But behind the scenes, he's dismantling the very protections he claims to uphold. His government's priority is not sustainable development, but short-term profit for foreign investors, even at the expense of Albania's long-term well-being. So the question must be asked, why has the international community, particularly Europe, turned a blind eye to this? Why is Rama still seen as a stabilizing force? It's geopolitical pragmatism at its worst. European leaders see Rama as someone who can help with the region's refugee crisis and stabilize the Balkans. His cooperation with Italy, particularly in managing refugee flows, has made him a valuable ally to Western governments like Italy's Giorgia Meloni. In exchange, they're willing to overlook his domestic failings. But this short-sighted approach could have disastrous consequences, not just for Albania, but for the broader region. So, by propping him up, are these international actors complicit in the corruption and crime that has flourished under Rama's rule? In many ways, yes. There is no question that international actors like the EU and US know what's happening in Albania. They have the intelligence, they have the reports, but they choose to ignore it because it suits their immediate political objectives. The problem is that by turning a blind eye, they are enabling a corrupt regime and sacrificing Albania's future for short-term geopolitical stability. And the Albanian people are paying the price. More than a third of Albania's population has left the country since 1991, and youth unemployment remains one of the highest in Europe. Despite billions in development aid, the people are not seeing the benefits. The development projects pushed by Rama's government do little to help ordinary Albanians. The jobs created are often low-paying and precarious. While profits go to foreign investors and the political elite, it's no wonder so many Albanians are leaving. There is a profound sense of disenfranchisement and disillusionment. The government seems more interested in lining its pockets than in lifting its people out of poverty.